Remember when Daniel Bryan was screwed out of the WWE Championship just moments after beating John Cena for the title at SummerSlam 2013? It's one of the more shocking moments in SummerSlam history, but it's not the only one. I'm Kevin, and today we look at the 5 most shocking moments in the history of WWE SummerSlam. Number 5. Becky Lynch returns. Last year's SummerSlam was quite a special one. The man, Becky Lynch, was out of action since May of 2020 owing to the pregnancy of her first child, and the fans missed her throughout the pandemic era. Although there were rumors of her return, it wasn't expected to be as early as SummerSlam 2021. Becky made her shocking return to face SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair, who was supposed to defend the title against Sasha Banks, but Sasha's absence resulted in Lynch showing up instead. What happened next is considered to be one of the more controversial creative decisions by WWE in the past few years, as the man went on to defeat the dominant Belair in just 27 seconds, winning the SmackDown Women's Championship and kind of making it feel like the whole march that Belair had to WrestleMania defeating Sasha Banks was just a little less magical. Both Becky and Bianca were drafted to Raw later that year and continued their battles over the Women's Championship, except this time for Raw Women's Championship. Finally, the EST of WWE defeated Big Time Bex at WrestleMania 38 in an absolutely fantastic match and avenged her title loss at SummerSlam. The two are also slotted to have another match for the Raw Women's Championship at this year's SummerSlam. Number 4. SummerSlam 2011's shocking ending. In 2011, CM Punk was one of the most popular wrestlers in the WWE. After he walked out of the company with the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank 2011, WWE had no choice but to crown a new interim champion, and that was Rey Mysterio. On the same episode of Monday at Raw, he lost it to John Cena. To add to the events of that night, CM Punk returned as well, but with the WWE Championship, the real one that he took from Cena just a month and a half or so earlier. The only problem now was that there was 2 WWE champions. Who was the real champion? WWE booked a match, a title unification match between Cena and Punk for SummerSlam that year, with Triple H serving as the special guest referee. The two put on quite the show, Punk controversially winning the battle. However, Kevin Nash made his shocking return after the match and attacked the best in the world. It surprised everyone, as no one thought they would see Big Daddy Cool at the event. I mean, even Triple H was caught off guard by seeing his old friend. To make matters worse, Alberto Del Rio utilized his opportunity and cashed in the Money in the Bank contract on Punk to become the undisputed WWE champion. Too much to process in one match? Yeah, there's a lot there. Number 3. Brock Lesnar returns. Becky Lynch's return at SummerSlam 2021 was not the only return we would get that night. Brock Lesnar had not been seen on WWE programming since he lost the WWE title to Drew McIntyre. His contract with the company reportedly had ended after that, but the Conqueror quietly signed another deal after the Tribal Chief had just defeated Jonathan Cena, and the Beast Incarnate paid a visit to the WWE Universal Champion by making it clear that he wanted the title. But this time, Brock had a different look, a different attitude, and a happier-go-lucky cowboy Brock was embraced by the fans, chasing the Tribal Chief. Roman and Brock faced each other on numerous occasions before this, but this time the dynamic was quite different, as Roman was the unstoppable villain, Brock was the challenging monster babyface. Most importantly, Roman had Lesnar's advocate, Paul Heyman, at his side. They will face off again at this year's SummerSlam in a last man standing match, which is deemed to be the last one. Who are you rooting for? Number 2. Seth Rollins gets the assist from Jon Stewart. In 2015, Seth frickin' Rollins was having the year of years in his career. As the WWE champion, it all started at WrestleMania 31, cashing in the Money in the Bank, taking the title from Brock and Roman Reigns, the heist of the century. It continued with the Architect facing the United States champion John Cena in a champion versus champion winner-take-all match at SummerSlam. Everything's on the line, and for some reason this entire show is hosted by Daily Show comedy treasure Jon Stewart. Yeah, this wasn't good news for Rollins, as he had ignited a feud with Stewart earlier in the year by showing up on his Daily Show and antagonizing him. But what happened at the event shocked everyone, as Stewart rushed in with a steel chair, and instead of attacking Rollins, he went after Cena. This gave the WWE World Champion the opportunity he needed to hit one last pedigree on Cena and walk out of SummerSlam as the WWE World Champion, as well as the new United States Champion. Many fans complained how Stewart's involvement ruined an important match, and that didn't make much sense. John, this guy was making fun of you on your TV show. Consistency, John, consistency. Is this Jon Stewart from the movie Half-Baked? Because it sounds like he's acting like that Jon Stewart. Stewart explained his actions by saying that he attacked Cena because he didn't want Big Match Johnny to tie the record of most world titles won by Nature Boy Ric Flair. But Cena did that anyway, tying the record at Royal Rumble 2017. Number 1, the debut of the Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns has been pretty much the top guy in WWE since early 2015. The hardcore fans barely cared about his elevation from the Shield, which they liked. If you remember, the big dog opted to go home when the pandemic got rolling in 2020 and missed WrestleMania 36. In the meantime, SmackDown's main event scene was dominated by two pretty big guys, Braun Strowman and his former cultic leader, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. They faced each other for the gold at SummerSlam 2020. As soon as The Fiend won the match, Roman Reigns hit the ring out of nowhere and started beating the hell out of him. He then turned his attention to Strowman and did the same thing. This new vicious side of Roman was sudden, excited, and much needed. In the following episode of SmackDown, Reigns revealed his alliance with the special counsel of Paul Heyman and went on to become the Universal Champion just a week later at the Payback event. Well, as you know, he also has held the title since. He then went on to form the Bloodline with his cousins the Usos and won the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar, holding both the world titles at once.